So let me get this straight. You put in all these systems to abide by these chief health officers' directions, even though there hasn't been a case within about 500-600 kilometres. You did it at your own expense. You tried to enforce the rules, got attacked for it, split your head open, could have killed you. And then a few weeks after that, police from hundreds of kilometres away came here with the intention to set you up, find you the first night, didn't tell you, just correct me if any of this is wrong, and then came back a second night without notifying you about the first fine and fined you another $5,000. Luke is not alone. This town, we're going to stand up for their rights too. With your help at fightthefines.com.au, we are going to fight for Luke. We're going to fight for every Australian, no matter where they are in this country. Fightthefines.com.au. Help us, help Luke. Last week I drove over 20 hours to Outback, Australia, to a small remote country town called Burke in the middle of nowhere. I went there because the local pub owner reached out to us via fightthefines.com.au. Almost instantly I called you because I just couldn't believe what I was reading and I didn't even know where Burke was. I didn't care. I knew I've got to get here and tell your story. And Luke's story is genuinely shocking. He's a small business owner who just survived the drought before COVID hit.
It hurt out here in a huge way. It was hard enough going through the drought and then to go through that as well.
But like most Aussie battlers, Luke copped it on the chin and tried to work with the dire situation the best he could.
We finally get a break and get some water in the river and a bit of green grass around. It looks like a fantastic tourist season coming up. This is in February this year. And then next thing you go, we get shut down. And that was a 9-week shutdown right at the busiest time of the year, which hurt everyone, but was a bit of pill to swallow. And just had to do it and get on with it. I did some renovations while we were shut down that I couldn't really afford to make the pub a better place for the locals.
Excited to open up, Luke went above and beyond to ensure his establishment complied with all the COVID directions. So much so that a patron violently attacked him for enforcing the government's guidelines.
Getting people to sit down, getting people to move back to their tables, it was just a constant thing, even to the point where 3 or 4 weeks after we opened back up, I got glassed for asking someone to sit down. One bloke in particular took offence to it, that I was picking on him and I was being racist towards him because it was Aboriginal background. He thought I was only asking him to sit down, no one else. He got quite agitated. At that point we cut him off, and on his way over he picked the glass up and threw it at me, and lucky I ducked my head, would have got me right at the bridge of the nose.
Goodness, I don't know how he calls himself lucky even after having his head split open for doing what the state says he has to do. But it got worse, because a couple of weeks later, cops from hundreds of kilometres away in Dubbo set up a sting operation on the port of Burke Hotel. You can't make this stuff up. Somebody violently attacked him for enforcing the COVID rules too hard, and then police fined him for not implementing them hard enough. All while there hasn't been a single coronavirus case within 500 kilometres.
We opened all this up and put the pool tables in here in a jukebox, and this gets used quite a bit. At the present it doesn't because of the COVID restrictions. It's too hard to keep an eye on people sitting down out here. So this room's actually shut down because of it at the moment.
So you've shut this room down to comply with these directions? So you're working your arse off to comply? When I came last night and had a beer here, I'd seen 2 cops walk in here and you made them sign in?
Yeah, most definitely. I've been advised by my lawyer and the AHA to ask the police when they do walkthroughs to check in, as per anyone else should. We've worked our guts out to make sure it was right. We checked with the local police all the way through. They were happy with what we're doing consistently on their walkthroughs.
We're here at Burke Police Station. I thought I'll come here and ask the commanding officer why police from Dubbo came here to enforce COVID restrictions. It seems counterintuitive. Travelling hundreds of kilometres to enforce something to stop the spread of a virus. I won't bring the camera in, otherwise they probably won't talk, but I'm mic'd up, so we should hear everything. Let's see what happens. There you go, mate. Avi Yamini here from Rebel News. I'm wondering if I can speak to Andrew Hurst, Commander Andrew Hurst. Quick question about the pub here that's got 2 fines.
He's actually in Parramatta for an awards ceremony. He's not actually in the...
What's he been awarded for?
No, he's there for the domestic violence awards.
Oh, okay.
Thing,
Would you know why Dubbo police fined him and not local police?
No. Honestly, I'm not sure. It's a region thing that was run, and that's all I know.
So it wasn't run by Burke, it was run by...
Western region.
And that's why they travelled here?
I believe so. But obviously we're not involved in it, so we don't know. So.
Did they give you the heads up though?
No.
They don't give you the heads up? That's so good. So how far's Dubbo? It's a few hundred Ks, isn't it?
About that, yeah.
Doesn't it seem weird to enforce COVID restrictions? They travelled a few hundred kilometres? No. Is there someone here that I can speak to about it, just to try and get my head around it? We're doing a big story on it, and we kind of want to understand and get the local police perspective on the matter, since obviously the Premier's been there. And
yeah, look...
is there someone maybe there that would be happy just to...
I can...
On camera, off camera, it doesn't really matter, just want...
If they're available.
Yeah,
I can't take any promises, but I'll ask them.
No. Avi.
Mate, apparently the DAs are not available to speak with you at the moment. You'd have to speak to the police media unit.
Okay, that one was...
Yeah. Alright, so that's... I'm just coming from up top. I've got no... Sorry, mate.
They don't want to talk.
I don't know, but they've told me that they're not available, so...
I just can't get my head around it. There's no coronavirus here, is there?
As far as I'm aware, no, but that's just me personally. As far as I'm aware, no.
But do you guys enforce COVID rules here?
Yeah, we do.
You do?
It's statewide.
Yeah.
So.
Alright. Thanks for your time, mate.
No worries.
Cheers. I'm not surprised, eh? Orders coming from the top to talk to the media unit. But what's interesting is everything there that the cop claimed. Burke Police had no idea about the operation. It had nothing to do with them, and they weren't even notified. So why the heck did Senior Sergeant Jonathan Cassidy, which you see on the fine, travel hundreds of kilometres with another officer 2 nights in a row to enforce coronavirus restrictions on a remote pub with 0 recorded cases anywhere nearby?
Instead of coming in and seeing me after the first Friday night, they came back the Saturday night and doubled down and did another $5,000 fine. So we received 2 fines for the weekend.
What a waste of police resources, especially in a place like Burke, where police probably have far more important things they should be focusing on instead.
I really feel that the police could be targeting a lot of other things before coming and targeting a little small country business. So.
An interesting twist. Last year, Gladys Berejiklian visited Burke on a PR tour to bounce back the region after years of drought. And the Premier held an event at Luke's pub.
Gladys was absolutely stoked with what we did. I had some personal time with her during the night, explained to her what we've all gone through with the drought, because that was the whole idea of their meeting out here, was to get to the bottom of how they could all help and what they could do as far as the drought goes. And she went away from here loving the pub.
If she's watching this right now, what would you tell Gladys?
It hurt out here in a huge way. It was hard enough going through the drought and then to go through that as well. And then to cop that after the fact, just please have some compassion about it and look at the case.
Can you afford $10,000 to pay those fines?
No, most definitely not. The 3.5 years I've had the hotel, it's been a struggle all the way through that. I've borrowed money to keep the doors open. The whole town has suffered. Took all that wall out, put a whole new bar in. The old bar was rough as guts, it's been patched up. A new countertop and redid all behind the bar, make it a bit more user-friendly for the staff. Painted right through, repaired all the walls that were damaged all the way. New furniture out in the bistro. So it kept us busy for the 9 weeks.
I'd say 10 grand could go a long way in bettering your business rather than...
Most definitely, yeah. But it was, like I said, it was money I didn't have at the time. So in doing that, I sort of left myself right down at the bottom of the barrel by the time we opened back up again. So just starting to make some headway and pay some debt back. And $10,000 is, I just can't justify that in the costs. The pub doesn't make enough money to justify that.
You don't have to worry about that because everybody at home is going to chip in and crowdfund your defence. We're going to fight your fight.
This gentleman has taken every step possible to adhere to these convoluted and confusing COVID directions. Unfortunately, he was subjected to a sting operation of sorts. There are questions as to the validity of those investigations, and these outrageous fines that have been handed to him have been given with no regard as to his livelihood, his standing in the community, his otherwise good character, and of course the fact that the risk of infection in that particular area, being in Bourke in New South Wales, is zero. These things were not considered by the police. Unfortunately, I think Luke is a victim of the times, so to speak, and we will do our best to make very strong representations on the matter and, if necessary, defend Luke in these proceedings.
Thank you, anyone that wants to help, and I'm sure you'll see what happens along the way.
We definitely will. Well, thanks again, mate, and hopefully I'll be back to have a celebratory drink. But if not, I'll be back here in court. I'm willing to do that drive again every time if I have to, not only for your beers are pretty special, but to be in this because I think the rest of the country needs to see what is happening in the name of fighting COVID.
Well, thanks a lot, mate. Really appreciate it.
If you want to help Luke, please do the following 3 things. Share this story far and wide. Donate what you can to fightthefines.com.au and head over to the Australian Rebel store at rebelstore.com.au and get yourself a I Stand with the Port of Bourke Hotel t-shirt right now for Christmas.